Okay, hi everybody. I'd like to introduce some golden oldies, which we're going to be going into today. My name is Aurora. I'm from Armed Heart, and Marieta from the Gouden Race, and Inga Blay. Your website I'm not sure of, but we've been together before, and we've decided to converge today. And we would like to just invite you to join our chat just randomly. We're just going to give our thoughts and ideas and feelings and chats. And if there are any questions, please drop them at the bottom of the channel. Thank you. So guys, ladies, how are you doing in this day and age now? Where are we in the new, the shift, the shifts? Lots of shift work.
Yeah, it's a special time. That's maybe the best word. It's a really special time to be here. It's an honor to be here now, in this time, to live in this time, not in the Stone Age or whatever, but now in this time of shift. It's also hard, and it's a lot of energy is moving around. It makes you wonder if you're not insane or something like that. But it's also really interesting what's happening with all the people on the world, and with yourself, and how you react on things. So, yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah.
I'm with Marieta. I find it's a very purposeful phase in the evolution of humankind. It's very different than any other phase. Why? Because we're all more conscious, aware of the consciousness also. But it is very difficult. It's very, it seems more busy, but my explanation and how I'm looking at it is that the timelines basically have come together. I say basically because until someone can experience the timelines coming together, it's just a theory.
Yeah.
But more and more and more people are now able to experience what's happening. And therefore, programs like this, where things are discussed openly, honestly, without an agenda of a business, etc., it's very important so that other people who are not on the internet also can have these discussions. Everybody that is waking up is feeling that pressure. It's the timelines that are coming together. So it's no longer past, present, and future. It's all here. A little bit difficult to explain, and at the same time not. That's just the way it is. But it's a very special time, a very, I would even say critical, a very critical phase in the evolution for humankind, because it will determine the direction.
Yeah.
Where is mankind going to next? So, yeah.
That's a good question.
Some strong people. Yeah.
So, Marita, where is mankind going? What do you think?
Oh, yeah, there are a few options. I don't think there are a lot of options, just maybe two, three, maybe four options to go. And it's like we go back to the Stone Age, and we are have to do it all over again. And there is something like we finally get it, get the point, the purpose about why we are here, and we all get it, and we go move on, and we go like the shift will happen, and we will go into a total different environment. And there are a little bit options like some people are, some people are not, and that would be also okay. But yeah, that it depends on how people will think, and how people will act, and how people will be in their own lives. And it doesn't matter if you are uh, are highly educated or you're just um, doing your thing and don't bother anybody. It all depends on how you are with yourself. That's the most important, and not how you are with other people or with outside or whatever, but with yourself. And then the shift will happen. And what Inge said about the timelines and it all comes together, we are already talked about it. And for me, that feeling is also there. Like it's always coming, like in I don't know the word, but it's a tractor. Like it's all coming together, like this.
Yeah,
We
funnel.
all have to go to that hourglass, and we are now in the middle, and it's all coming together, and we have to push through.
Mm. You know,
And and also we have to wait on our when we are there to how do I say it? When it's our time to go through that little hole to be in the other place.
mm,
So we have to wait, but we don't have to hold back. It's
yeah.
really yeah, it's a little bit difficult to know how much to push and how much to wait. So that's the most difficult part I feel at this time.
You know that if I could just add on to what we're going into this direction. Um, so I know that time is essentially represented by Saturn, okay, and an astrological thing. I also know that time is also allocated to the social experiences. So when you do something today or right now, this is a mark in time. You're marking time by converging or communicating in your social environment. I am also aware that uh, why Inge and why you, Marita, have brought in the explanation of the merging of timelines, is what I would say, where it's now brought forward by the feelings, what you're feeling inside of you. The heart is also the timekeeper of the heart is the keeper of time. So the convergence of all timelines, in other words, all social structures, all, not necessarily that we all have to accept all the structures that are in place, but our experiences that we are becoming more personal to us. I think that's the merging or the convergence is when we make things personal in the way that we experience it, and not so much for everybody else anymore. I'm just going with what comes to me as we speak. So, how do you guys feel about that? What's your thoughts on it? Uh,
It's what I've really been pushing for the last year and a half. It's always been there in anything I share.
mm,
It's about um, your own development, because anything you hear outside of yourself is still outside of yourself until you do something with it and
mm,
make choices and accept that responsibility. It within, it's still outside. So there's a big difference between brain intellect, body intellect, and energetic intellect.
yeah,
Body intellect and brain intellect is very similar because your entire body, it works together with the brain. But then you have the energetic intellect, and that's tied almost to that gut feeling. It's not exactly the same, but it's very close. It's a start.
yeah,
So a lot of people talk about collective consciousness,
mm,
and then they will call me and they ask, Inga, what about collective consciousness? I said, okay, which collective consciousness? So then I start introducing the idea, is it a collective consciousness of your body? Because most people aren't even in tune to that. They're reaching out for that, which seems to be very popular to
mm,
look at.
yeah,
Collective consciousness of the omniverse.
yeah,
So not even this universe, The omniverse. And I said, start with yourself, because until you arrive at what your specialty is, what makes you unique, it's not going to work. You have to develop yourself, so you then become that puzzle piece, so it fits in the whole, and you can join the whole huge collective consciousness, and then you won't have to ask that question anymore. And so those questions are very good and they're important, but for me, it's only a trigger to remind people we help other people so that we develop ourselves. Because without other people, why should you even exist? We are part of a huge body beyond humanity. So did I stray again? I do that.
Oh,
No, that's really, really on topic. You are really on topic. Yes.
Okay.
I don't know what the topic is, but that's
It felt it needed. It wanted to be said. So it is. Oh yeah, about the self-development. Until you yourself can experience it, it's only an idea, a thought, a possibility. When you experience it yourself, then you know with capital letter K. It's no longer, oh yeah, guru somebody said, teacher somebody said, master so-and-so said. It comes alive. When you experience it yourself, that's when the knowing comes alive and there's movement. Yeah.
Yeah, then it will resonate with yourself, and then it will feel like it's part of you, like it's home, like it's yeah, it's like really comfortable with you. And then when it feels comfortable, then it's yours. And then it's
Yes.
not say somebody who did say you have to practice this or you have to believe that or whatever. But then it's comfortable with you, and then it's yours, and then you can um, develop yourself around it and with it and within it. So that's yeah, really nice. Yes.
So I'm thinking, okay, this makes me think of, there's a lot of things that have been coming to my mind while you guys are talking. And I'm questioning the not the value. I'm questioning the root of, actually no, let me just rephrase that. What I'm trying to say is I've got a picture in my head, so I'm trying to put it into words. I see an image that is on the Egyptian archaeology artifacts and stuff like that. It's an image of creation, but it's a female body bending over, and she represents the sky god, goddess, sky goddess, and underneath her is the earth, and they've swapped the polarities over. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, the Babylonian history has most probably inverted the masculine and the feminine principles. What is happening now is there's a turning back, switching it back to it's supposed to be. Originally, according to Greek historics, the sky was represented by a male and not by a female. So what's happening now is our masculine and feminine principles, our polarities, are converging but are merging. And it's the merging of these principles that become a whole body, just like you said about the puzzle piece adding to the whole. The merging of that puzzle piece to the whole is really a merging of polarities into one new being, new whole being, or would you say it's the same old one, It's just a little bit upgraded. What are your thoughts?
For me, it's like a new one, like a newborn, like we have to be born again. And also, I heard some really new information again about the pole shift. The poles are going to shift, so the North Pole will be the south, and the south will be like the plus and the min, the positive and the negative, and everything will be shifting. So like everything will be upside down.
Or right way up?
Okay, yeah.
What?
There's something. Okay, yeah, something happened on the screen, so I was distracted. Yes, everything will be upside down, but the what we now see at the bottom will be the top, and the top will be the bottom, and we will be confused. But at the same time, we will recognize it like it is. It's oh, finally it's there. So that will bring a lot of confusion and bring a lot of clearness at the same time. So it's, yeah, that's why it's so important to be with yourself. That's why I also try to say that for a long time. And I think the concept is still not really connecting with people. Have the responsibility for self, to be looking, just look at yourself. It's not, it's not really sinking in, like it's hanging there in the sky and people are recognizing it and seeing it, but not letting it in. And I don't know how that will happen, what will happen with it. So maybe it's really confusing what I'm saying. So,
No.
No, I'm following you, and I experience it or see it a little bit different. I see what's happening um, in the organic body a little bit differently, and I see different steps versus the feminine and masculine. How I see the feminine and the masculine coming together is that, oh, let's keep it labeled just for the sake of communication.
Yeah.
The feminine has a type of frequency. The masculine has another type of frequency. It has to do with tones. We all agree that sound is also information. Anything that moves, it's also information with codes, etc. So first, the feminine and masculine have to be in agreement of equal value. Then the feminine and masculine have to come together. Then they have to integrate. That means all the different vibrations that make up the feminine and all the different vibrations that make up the masculine have to move in each other like this, so that you have a complete orchestra. Then when we're looking at the final transformation before we step into the complete beginning again, what happens is we then have to talk about molecular level, so that the vibrations actually are broken down and considered a frequency, and they're broken down smaller and smaller and smaller. So you're looking at, the smallest particle I can think of is molecular. Okay, very, very small. And then when they become one, then that's the step before we then say the beginning and the end, and you have that infinite circle. Keeping in mind that because we are animals, we are still limited by our brain what we can picture or imagine. By certainly one of my favorite subjects, how does everybody experience the universal masculine, feminine? I have not been successful in everyday conversations with people to keep it out of man, woman. People are really ingrained in man, woman, boy, girl.
Mm.
But the universal feminine and masculine that makes life possible,
Mm.
it works different.
Mm.
No, nobody cares up there if you're a boy or a girl. They really don't.
Mm.
They don't even care if you're not a boy and not a girl. They don't care if you're a boy and a girl.
Mm.
Nobody up there cares. It's about how do you flow with life, with capital L. So not only life on earth, just that big thing, life. So it is a little bit different than how it works in the body.
That's
How
exactly.
does the body experience it? Yeah, it gets like confused.
Mm.
But it's got to go there, because if you don't accept it as a reality, your brain has the capacity to remember free choice.
Mm.
So if you don't think it's real, you know, you're not going to go there. If you don't think there's water in the pool, you're not going to jump.
Mm.
So that is a little bit problematic. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what hinders that process for perhaps general humanity is the linear time, linear plane of the 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, or the line that only, like I think Marieta and I spoke about this, where the sine wave goes up and down and up and down, which only gives one side on a flat plane of existence. So literally it's up, which is male, and down, which is female, up and down. So it's polarized. Everything is polarized on a linear timeline of what we're existing in. It's coming up that linear timeline is being challenged or is being dismantled by the observation of itself, God looking at itself to give it that label, that name. Creator is now observing itself through creation process, where we're doing the same thing, whether we're in lockdown or whether we are having fires everywhere, which literally is what's happening everywhere in the world right now. It's happening here as well. Um, then also, what's next on their agenda is the food shortage thing, fake story. So it's literally those. Uh, it's very busy today here. Not normally like this, but anyway, um, it's challenging the observation. It's the same as creation is being challenged by itself. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes. I did feel myself like being the observer of things, like looking at things, even looking at myself from a distance.
Mm.
And I'm practicing lately to look within. So go within, literally going in my body and looking in my body, what's there, what's happening. And I can look at the organic things, so like my organs are in my body, what they are doing, or I can look at the energetic being in myself. And I think had the lockdown, people are hating the lockdown. I also don't like it, but you can also use it, like locking down in yourself.
Mm.
And then you can get a positive wave on the negative, and then you transform it. So you are already transforming the shift in a small part in yourself, in your own environment.
Mm.
So the lockdown, you are locking down in your body and you are connecting with your body. So you become the one whole.
Yeah.
And the whole, the feminine and the masculine piece of you are becoming one.
Yes. And I think that's excellent. I've been doing that for the past, I don't know, I think in January I started. not because of the lockdowns and the virus, but just I felt the need myself. And what I'd like to add to that observing is I really encourage people to try observing from the non-personal. What does that mean? You observe yourself, observing yourself. There are other layers, but I've the feedback I've been getting is that it's not that easy. So better just start with those two layers. Observe yourself first, then move into observing the observer. Because once you get to the layer of observing, then you also see, how do you observe yourself? Are you truly looking at all of you? Or are you looking at the nice parts? Or are you looking at the poor me parts? You know, so you can't, then it's one more way to step out of the program of habit. Because habit is formed from before you're born, from outside influences, your parents, situations. So in order to break those walls down, observe yourself, observing yourself, you're a little further away. So then you say, oh, yeah, I forgot to look in that little corner. I'm not that nice. I thought I was really nice, but I'm not nicer than that. So those types of things. So two layers of observing.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was done.
No, I was going to say, doing it without judgment, of course, is not easy.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And in the first layer of observing, you judge without realizing it. Because you will look at what is most obvious.
Yeah.
And then you end up judging yourself. But if you move one layer away, you'll see it really does help get rid of some of it. Not all of it, but it'll get rid of some of that, prevent you from discovering everything about yourself. You have to know what you are and everything that you are before you can embrace it, right? We all say, embrace yourself. But for it to be very effective, it really is handy to really know what you're embracing. Because then you consciously are accepting and loving and caring and appreciating and respecting. Consciously. It's not out of habit or that same, oh, hi, how are you? Oh, I hope they don't say anything. Gavin, sorry, catch you up next time. Hope you're well.
Yeah, I know it's quite strange when you're asking someone, hi, how are you doing? And I'm waiting for them to say, and then they go past that. And then they just launch into whatever it is that they were going to say anyway. And I'm thinking, okay, so there's no attention to actually being conscious all the way. So there's, sine waves. Very interesting.
Yeah. But on the other hand, it's also the most difficult question people ask me. Because when they ask me, how do I react? Do I say, oh yeah, fine, thank you, and how are you? Or do I really say how I'm feeling or how I'm doing? And do I want to say that to that person? Yeah, somebody I'm prepared to share everything, and some people I don't want to share anything. Because in the past I did share because I thought it was safe to share, and then a few weeks, months later, then it backfires. So they make fun of you with it, or they judge you by it, or whatever. So it's really a hard question for the person to ask and for the person who has to answer that question. So
and it's also a lot of responsibility for the person who listens. What are they going to do with this share? Because they're going to go through a program saying, did she really mean what she said? Because they're so used to the polite, oh, I'm fine.
Mm.
You could be dying and the person will say, how are you doing today? You're in the hospital. You go to the hospital, visit someone. They're dying and they're uncomfortable. And you ask them, hi, how are you doing today? And they will tell you, oh, I'm doing really good.
Ah,
Because
Yeah.
it's that program to automatically answer, oh, I tried something this, it was getting, I was getting really stressed, really, I was having a hard time. And I started doing this. I even think it's weird. Somebody will say, Inga, how are you doing? I'll actually say, oh, I'm doing terrible. I'm going to have a nervous breakdown, but it's okay. It'll all end up okay. Can I help you? And I go on. And after I said, well,
good.
Inga, you're being more weird than usual. But you know what? Not one person reacted calmly as if it's, yeah, they didn't know how to react. People didn't know how to react.
Yeah.
So
And
I stopped doing that.
you know, it's interesting that you say that. If someone asked me, which I've been asked, how are you doing? I would say, I used to give the actual, oh no, it's not going well, or, you know, this is how naive I was as a child, as growing up. You know, I was just very naive. I would say, oh no, it's not going well today, or it's really going well today. I would be very honest. But then I realized they don't really understand. And even if you told them, depending on who it is, of course, it's only some people that you can be truly yourself, or, okay, um, that I would say, I would look at my immediate self and say, oh, my immediate self's always fine. So I'm always going to, let me give you, my immediate self is fine. Thank you. And leave it at that.
That's better than, oh, I'm terrible. I'm having a nervous breakdown.
So
Can I?
I'll only talk.
Yes, I like your words better.
I'll just leave it at that, and they would often just okay, and then launch off in their own life. But only the ones that I trust that I would say, you know what, I really am not. I've got a sore foot today, or whatever, pain in the neck, or who knows, whatever. You know, I suppose it depends on who you trust, or who's worthy of your trust, rather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you feel like sharing, even so, sometimes I don't even want to share how I feel.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
also don't want to have yourself also be trapped in that when you say that either. I think that that also comes through going through my mind at some stage. Like if
Yeah.
I say it's going shit, then I'm gonna probably create it, you know.
Yeah. Also. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
then
It
if
will
you,
be the reality. So
yeah,
I wanted to
And
stay
we're back
positive.
to being aware and consciously speaking, consciously responding. And sometimes it's hard
yeah,
because it takes just a fraction bit more time.
mm,
Marieta we met, and I was still a touch insecure. I will always be insecure to some point. That's part of me.
who's not?
That's another thing I've accepted.
Mm,
Um, but now I'm more outspoken. It saves time. And that is a biggie also, is be conscious of what you're doing. When something becomes a habit, watch out, because you're not shining. You're like being a robot,
mhm.
and just, you're not acting, you're reacting. And reacting will keep you away from yourself. Acting brings you closer to being all of what you can be. But I've stopped saying I'm doing terrible. I'm having a nervous breakdown. Let's go on.
You know, if you
Yeah,
had,
but
if, yeah, if you had,
when
no,
you are always saying that, people don't believe you anymore.
Exactly.
Because
no,
you said it last time and the time before and the time before. So then, okay, you are always in some kind of breakdown. So that's okay.
Yeah.
Then you are
Yeah.
fine. So you are doing fine in your breakdown.
Yeah.
I'm breaking down slowly but happily.
Happily breaking down slowly.
I am anticipating to be fully less broken down by the time you see me again.
But
And
how can I help you?
help you. How are you breaking down?
I thought we were trying to make people more aware and more clear about things, but I think they get confused more and more.
Oh, well, that's why.
You know, they have wonderful help here in Holland for people that are ill at home. So as things got tough with my dad, we call have something home care that comes. And they really had a hard, we get along really good now because I come across really easygoing as if I'm not paying attention. But when it comes to my father, I pay attention.
Mm.
You should, you have to. He needs help.
Oh,
So it was really funny. First they came, some of them were really good, some of them less attentive. They'd be gone within 2 minutes. So there's no way you can do what you need to do
mm,
in that amount of time. They actually thought I didn't pay attention. So I started having talks with home care people that came here. I said, oh, no, I pay attention. I know this happens and this happens and this happens. And I'm giving room for people to understand what their responsibility is when they care for another person. But my father tells me a lot.
mm,
He's very alert, and he really is alert. And then I told him the times, and I said, I don't, that person must be really good because I couldn't get it done in 2 minutes. I really couldn't. So then things correct. I think it's people are so used to judging even someone's demeanor.
mm.
If you come across soft, then maybe you're also soft in the head. But I think it's good to still stay this way whenever possible, because then people have an example. Soft can be very strong. Soft is not the same as weak.
Yeah.
And society now, with the virus and the lockdown, people are, not everyone, but many people are getting so angry, they're forgetting. And then they become aggressive and actually violent.
Mm.
So, but I have to be honest, it doesn't always work. I get angry just like the next person too. So I'm not always soft.
I don't know. I can be a very, can also be very angry. I won't go into detail. Yeah. But it's interesting that you bring up the words and the meaning of the weak and the soft and all of that stuff, because I was reading an article yesterday on the explanation or the misinterpretation or the misuse of the word charisma, which was initially used for spiritually in touch with a higher presence of energy, of power. Uh, how the society have taken words that have that strength and have labeled their political leaders with, oh, he is a charismatic leader, you know, um, he will save our country, blah, 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 bullshit. And how the misuse of words, how the misuse of language really then once applied to a something else, it's like labeling the wrong ingredient and hoping that your paprika will taste like salt, you know, and then keep doing it and keep doing it until the paprika turns into salt or something like that, which never happens. But that's the abuse of the polarities on a deliberate confusion of switching the polarity frequencies or the masculine and feminine principles or energy or frequencies, how they are switching it deliberately, um, and how that is created, that then becomes a belief system. And in that way, that belief system then becomes interpreted or implemented into the system that we're existing in. And how Paprika decides to revolt against being labeled as salt. For fuck's sake, I'm revolting. And I'm now going to take back my original identity as Paprika. And that's me. and it becomes a personal thing now. Um, why I'm bringing this up is because it's just something that I've been seeing happen more and more and more, where wrong words that are not used out of wrong contexts being used to manipulate even more, to manipulate and keep uh, strengthening the inversion. I'm just going random with my thoughts here. What do you guys
No,
think of that? How do you?
I look at this and it's kind of interesting because I have this app and there's only like I think 7 people interested in my thoughts. It's called Inge's Thoughts.
You better share.
As I got out of the public eye, I wrote Inge's Thoughts. It's an app. There's no discussion. Read, and what you like, you take home and maybe do a meditation on it, etc. I put the words. It's recent. I said convenience may feel good, but something like that. It's not always good. So you're talking about charismatic speaker. Since people associate charismatic as a positive, as desirable, without them realizing when they hear this, let's say on the news, oh, that lady, that guy, that person, they must be good. And I want to be one of the people who votes and is part of the group of the good. It depends on charismatic in what way.
Mm.
There are in the history of the world, there were some very charismatic tyrants.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're talking about lover boys, for instance. This is extreme.
Mm.
They use their charisma to convince. That doesn't mean it's good, but that word is associated with good. So if the media or something, then people don't forget to look for themselves and they label them and put them in the box good. Convenience is good. Having a grocery store is very good. It's nice. But then if you look at convenience, sometimes convenience is not very nice.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm with you on the use of words, but I try all kinds of trick things. I capitalize words. People who don't know me very well, they said you should check your spell check. No, that word needs to be capitalized because I'm using it in different contexts.
Yeah, when you do that with the capital words, then somebody is saying, no, then you are shouting. So that now when you do that to benadrukken, dus have to say, this is a special word, this has a special meaning, then somebody else is reading that, oh, it's capital, so it is shouting. No, it's not shouting, it's
But
somebody
maybe it
said.
needs to be shouted, Marieta.
Yeah, maybe it needs to be shouted, yes. Shouting can also be something positive because you have to shout to be heard when somebody is really far away from you.
Smack.
No, that's something else. That's to make them attention.
This is so funny, Marieta, because the doctor makes me all of my dad's doctors, the whole team, the specialists, they make me the official shouter. It's because somehow when I shout, my dad understands. When they shout, he doesn't understand. I think it has to do with he's used to how I move my lips. That's why my throat is still hoarse. Because I've been shouting.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. But there's also the vibration of shouting.
Yes.
The words you use, the intention behind shouting. So there's so much more on everything, so much more on words, so much more, yeah, and habits. Yeah, when you are comfortable in your habits and everything is nice and always the same, that's a good thing. But it also means you can grow because you are in your bubble and you can go out. And like we did talk about the puzzles, when you fix the corners and fix the edges, then you're stuck in. So maybe we have to pull out the edges, and then we can puzzle on more puzzles.
Yes,
Yeah.
Indeed.
they can develop instead of being confined to a specific design. Yeah. Hey, that's a good one. You should write that one, Marieta.
Hmm.
Like I'm all really big. You should write that, Marieta. And you're still going in anonymity, but it's working out good, guys. And I'm not doing it to hide. Uh, I'm doing it because at this point in time, it still makes me effective at home, and it makes me more effective when I meet somebody that understands the vibration. I recently went to a place, uh, wonderful place. I think I told you about it, Marieta. And
Yeah.
what this couple did, they were there for like 29 years. And when they first started, they first bought 1,200 square meters with a little house. Then as the land became available around them, they're up to 15,000 square meters. And they made a bunch of serenity gardens. They grew, everything is organic. They grew herbs. They gave honest workshops there. Unfortunately, she passed away from cancer. And I went and visited there, thanks to Aniko. And
Yeah.
the trees and everything, they wanted to live. So I told the gentleman, and I said, you know, it wants to shine again. The land wants to shine again. Um, he he um, he still has all the records. His wife, before she passed away, wrote all the workshops down. And in fact, he said that's true because for 2 years it was quiet. She passed away 2 years, 2 Decembers ago. And so I think he's starting. So I told him, I said, would I be able to give a meditation or something here? It's about an hour and 15-minute drive. And he was very open for me. So I said, okay. It gave me comfort because in my head, I did not, I failed at creating such a space. I didn't have like, that was a little bit too big.
Mm.
But I wanted a space where people come and everything was clean and honest. So it was exactly what you felt, what you saw, that's what it is. With no commercial stuff. And I told him, I said, you know, you gave me great comfort because I'm getting older. There is already a place in Holland that's exactly what I had in my mind, bigger than what I had in mind.
Mm.
And I think we'll probably end up seeing each other more, and I'll do some work there. And he said, well, don't you want your own? I said, well, you know what? There really is no ownership when it comes to shine. I could have a small garden and do my thing, but people can't come there because of the regulations.
Mm.
So, but in your place, I could do the same thing. I could help your piece of land, and you're helping me, so I don't have to create this from scratch. So that I know why I brought that up. It sounds very different. I wanted to bring up I will call it energetic network.
Okay.
And if I can, Aurora and Marieta, I'll use this moment to just quickly ask everybody who views this video, take a little bit of time and try to feel the energetic network that is trying to help us.
Mm.
Because not enough people are consciously working on it.
Yes.
Even if it's only 5 minutes a day, the network needs help. It still has to come through our hands.
Mm.
It's fine that we get help out there, but it's not for them to do what we need to do.
Mm.
We have to develop. And if this network is a little stronger and steadier, then people, as they become more conscious, can just go bzzzt, throw in their antenna, and then without going to all kinds of workshops, they can continue to develop right in daily life.
Mm.
It won't cost them any money, but even 5 or 10 minutes a day, that will help everybody. And next to that, for your brain, because your brain needs something too, go to workshops, go to a session, go and learn, go and explore. But the network needs more people to consciously feed into it and draw on it, because the more you draw on it, the more you're feeding it, because you're becoming aware of all the information that's out there. I didn't know that I was going to hog that time. Sorry, but it came
No,
through
no,
and it
no,
was
no.
important.
That's
Don't
great. That's great.
apologize. This is free. This is called open source, literally.
Okay. Well, I think I just open sourced.
Maybe I can add a little bit to it, because I can see a lot of people then thinking, oh, how do I do that, and will I do that the right way, and will I be able to connect? And okay, just thinking about it, just listening to the words Ingen told you makes you are connected, you are part of it, you are continuing to make it stronger. You are just already now doing it.
Mm.
So everything you do is okay. Even when you just have listened one time, you are connecting with it. So don't worry, it's all okay. Everything is okay.
Thank you, Marieta. And so it is.
Well, that's brilliant because I think our what I was going to say is what I've done in a video before this one, if you look, is to introduce or to remind us to hug. It's just an example, but to hug the planet, which is literally the most easiest way to think. The intention behind it is to really tap into, it's an old fashioned healing that works, that the healer, the shaman healer who heals the person that comes for healing, when he or she heals that person, he heals that shadow within him herself. And by healing what you're wanting to heal within yourself, you can't dictate which person will come on your way. You're not that in tune, with all due respect to everyone who's in tune. You cannot predict a person coming to you that's going to teach you now about my big toe pain. Uh, you're going to meet someone who's going to help you to heal, perhaps how to listen, how to forgive from the past, etc., etc. But to encapsulate what we're all discussing here right now before we um, close down or end off, is to say that we are embracing, not embracing, it's not such a, there's no word for it, but to merge with or converge with the good bacteria of the energy around us. What is the, you're calling it the network. What is that? Can you please give that same word again, Inga, please? What is that, what you were
The
saying?
network, the energetic network.
Energetic network. I like that. It, in Afrikaans, it would mean in, which means add, to add on. In, in, en. That's an Afrikaans. But yeah, um, may I ask to you both, how can anybody get in touch with you if they wanted to send you an email, or if they wanted to look at your work, or if they wanted to see anything that you have done, perhaps? How can they find you? How can they connect? Can they ask questions on my channel? Can they ask questions on yours? Uh, do you have a website, perhaps, Inga? Anything? Mystery, mysterious.
It makes me laugh because I had this website tea time and I made it like it just left. And then somebody made a BTC butterfly website, and I didn't understand it at all. And I didn't do it for me. I did it for this meditation group that I was working with. And I said, this is for you guys, keep it up. Okay, to keep a long story short, the best way, if you want to like see more, I'm on Facebook under Inge Blij, INGEBLEI is my last name. And from there, most stuff I do on Bridge to Consciousness. So tea time sort of faded. It was too soft and people got the wrong idea of what it's about. Bridge to Consciousness is a more general concept. So the attention isn't on me, it's on what is it about. But you can sort of find me on Facebook, and if something really is up, you can contact Aurora or Marieta. You really need help, really, and I will respond. Good. Because I'm doing other stuff now.
We'll put all the links at the
So look me up. I'm on Facebook, Bridge to Consciousness. I will respond. Okay. But I'm not officially giving sessions. That type of thing.
This is
and the butterfly, of course. You will see my name flashing. Other people are doing the butterfly now, but you'll see my name in there somewhere.
Good, thank you. And you, Marieta?
Yeah. I have a website. It's called The Gouden Reis. In English, it's The Golden Voyage. And I have also Facebook with my name and also my website. And I have a YouTube channel with also the name The Golden Voyage. So when you really wanted to connect with me, there are a lot of possibilities. And yeah, I think Aurora will be sending the the link in the description and things like that. So yeah,
everything.
I'm available for questions and insights and everything. Thank you.
This was fantastic. Thank you very much.
Yes.
This was fantastic.
It was a homecoming. Thank you. It was
yes.
Yeah, it was a great
really
picking
good.
up for me. Yeah.
Thank you.